Type 2 diabetes doesn't often start in childhood, but the taste wiring that increases the pull toward high energy foods often does. And today isn't about blame or fear, it's about understanding what we're up against and what we can actually do about it. Hey, welcome to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast with the two renegade pharmacists, Brian Bisher and Corey Jenks. You are listening to this because you are a person with type 2 diabetes who is committed and driven to breaking free from this diagnosis and creating a real, meaningful change in your health and life. In these episodes, we're here to help you ditch the scripts with doses of unconventional wisdom on topics such as fitness, nutrition, medication, mindset, and more. So without any further delay, let's dive right in. Happy belated birthday, Corey. How was it?
It was great. It wasn't the birthday I planned, but it's the birthday I needed and I got. For those of you who think that I sound super old or super young, I'm somewhere in the middle of age, 39 years old. So it still starts with a 3. But I'm telling you, Brian, I have taken to calling my 30s the blurries. It has gone by in a blur. But thank you for wishing me a happy birthday. It reminds me of the younger days when birthdays were, not that they weren't special, but when you're a kid, it's all about you. You have the parties, the cake. When you're a little kid, Brian,
Yeah, the cake.
smashing that cake when you're 1 year old, man. Do you remember your cake when you were one? How good it was?
I have no idea, Corey. I couldn't even tell you what
How
my
about
cake.
2? Do you remember the best piece of cake you had when you were 2?
I don't. I actually don't remember the cake. I don't.
So we
I couldn't
should.
tell you the last. I think the first recollection I have of sugar is probably Captain Crunch or some kind of Chips
Okay.
Ahoy cookie.
Oh man, the marketers got you. Saturday morning cartoons with Captain Crunch. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
so that's our topic today, isn't it, Brian? When type 2 starts.
yeah. I think it starts at just kind of a play on words here, Corey. Type 2 really starts at 2. As actually, I guess we could say that socially it's acceptable to give your 1 year old a bunch of sugar because as made by the smash cakes that are very popular these days.
Hmm.
But I think after that, though, we start to see it's more common. Like 2 year olds, like they're becoming more aware. They know what's going on. They can tell if they're being left out. They want to be included. So yeah, I see a lot of 2 year olds, my daughter included, getting things that they really have no idea what they're getting into. They just know that it tastes incredibly good. It's really sweet, and they quickly become addicted to it. Don't you think so?
Yeah, well, it's a social norm, and I actually have some information, some data that'll blow your mind. There are some data to suggest. Now, this is not us saying this is absolutely the truth because we have learned in healthcare to be humbled and to say this is our best guess. But there are data to suggest that in utero, babies exposed to flavors and amniotic fluid prefer those foods later. So type 2 might actually, age 2 might be a little late when it comes to type 2 development. Because if you are developing a sweet tooth when you don't even have any teeth, then that could affect you as you get older. And it's true though, uh, when we're born and we start eating foods, there's evidence to show that early sweet exposure increases lifelong sweet preferences. Now, we're not saying that sugar is the sole reason that we have type 2 diabetes, but it's hard to deny the fact that when you consume high energy foods with lots of sugar, that's going to give us a propensity to have higher blood sugar. And if we have a genetic desire to eat sweets, it does not bode well to consume less of those foods that are sweet, Brian. So it really, before you're even born, you could start having some of this programming. Now we'll touch on the fact that this doesn't get you off the hook, but it might explain a lot of our diabetes epidemic.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's just become very normalized to, let's be honest, a lot of it is not just sugar. It's the sugar fat combination where it's
Hmm.
the cakes, the cookies, the cupcakes. That's not just sugar. It tastes even
Hmm.
better than sugar because you throw in the fat and then you get
Hmm.
the extra calories. It's just a bunch of extra energy. And that's what type 2 diabetes is. For those listening, you know this. It's energy toxicity at the end stage. End stage energy toxicity. Your body's like, I've had enough. I just can't, I'm trying. I can't store this anymore. It's just going to be in the blood now. And it's going to do its thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there, as of 2023, around 33% of adolescents age 12 to 17 have prediabetes. And so that's setting people up for a lifetime of misery and suffering. Like if you're listening to this and you have type 2 diabetes, you know how much suffering it can cause. And we are at an age when you're supposed to be doing dumb stuff. Like we don't have fully formed brains at 12 to 17. You're not even able to comprehend the suffering that you are setting yourself up for, or quite honestly, that either your parents, your environment, our food environment is setting you up for. And in fairness, I know that we're not going to go all in on the sugar problem here, but the there are studies that suggest that kids consume 3 times the recommended amount of sugar in a day, and the recommended max sugar in a day is 25 grams of sugar. And I can tell you that that's most kids blow by that before they roll. They get that in their toothpaste probably. So uh,
Most kids get that before they walk out the door to school, and then they get handed another 25 grams at snack time. And you know what I love, Corey? I love how some of the marketers do it. They hide it. Again, not to say sugar is not directly causing diabetes. It's a symptom of when you have diabetes. It is part of the problem of extra energy. Yes, okay, and it makes you overeat. All these things doesn't fill you up, lacking nutrients, etc. But my favorite is how they hide it in things. I'm not going to say who this was, just to keep them from being, if they listen to this, but someone who was well educated, Corey,
a well-educated person.
well educated person.
College. Now, when we say well-educated, now college educated doesn't mean what it used to mean. This could be trade educated, wisdom, life wisdom, maybe.
Both,
Oh
all.
wow. Uh-oh.
Yeah, they got by the zero added sugar.
Hmm.
And just like, oh yeah, the juice boxes. Well, this has no added sugar. Let's look at the side. Well, it's got 19 grams of sugar, and it's just, yeah, it's fruit sugar, but it's sugar is sugar is sugar.
The problem is you're having a juice box. You're probably washing down. So if it's at a birthday party, you're washing down a cupcake and a pizza. So you're getting a lot of sugar and energy from a cupcake. The pizza's purely carbs and a little bit of cheese. So you're getting lots of energy and not a lot of nutrition. And your sugar sweetened beverages are, I know it's no added sugar sweetened with this juice, but drinking sugar is, here's when you should drink sugar. If you are on a medicine that makes your blood sugar crash and you're going to die and you need to bring your sugar up, that's when we drink juice.
Mhm.
And I remember a dietitian telling a patient or suggesting that they needed to get calcium and they couldn't do dairy and their A1C was like 9. And so they said, how about calcium fortified orange juice? Are you out of your mind? Their sugars are crazy high. Let's find another way. Please, can we find another way to make this happen? I think the getting back on track here,
Yeah,
type 2 starts at 2. It's a number of factors. I think we could worry about the energy intake causing the buildup of insulin resistance, fatty liver, metabolic dysfunction. For funsies, we looked up the youngest case of type 2 diabetes, and what we could find was in 2015 there was a 3-year-old who had a diagnosed case of type 2 diabetes. And my guess that number has gone up since then of 3-year-olds with type 2 diabetes. So yes, there's the acute issue of energy toxicity from end stage energy toxicity of type 2 diabetes. However, I care a little bit more. I like to think about the behavioral side and what we're learning behavior wise at a young age. For myself, I learned that after dinner you have a snack, and sometimes you have a snack after your snack. And that snack is a sweet croissant and a pretzel, and not just like pretzel sticks, like a big old fluffy pretzel. That was my habit. Now, as a young kid, I did end up having fatty liver, but I was also active. So like kids are my wife and I talk about our kids are really active. They do need energy. But what kind of energy are you providing? And what sort of taste preferences are you building at that age 2, 3, 4, and beyond? I'm concerned about the metabolic acute issues in a 3-year-old with type 2 diabetes. Don't make me think that I don't care about that. But God willing, they're going to live a long life, and you got to live your whole life with the wiring you're receiving from in utero. Now think of when, no, we're two dudes, so sorry, women, but when woman's pregnant, what's the thing? I'm eating for two.
ice cream.
Oh man, I just want a milkshake. I just feel, oh, you're pregnant, drink whatever you want. Ugh. I'm I say this because my wife was very diligent about what she ate while she was pregnant. So this was a team effort. And also dudes are not off the hook because the quality of your sperm determines the health of your child. So leading up to your own conception, what you're eating matters. So just so the women don't get angry at me, dudes, your swimmers matter. But what you're eating while you're pregnant is going to affect the preferences and metabolic health of your baby. And it's not a comfortable topic to talk about, especially as guys. I'm not trying to tell women to eat whatever you want. This is just what the evidence is, or the best evidence is. So at 2 or even below 2, we're setting ourselves up for a risk of type 2.
Yeah. And or even potentially getting it early on. I mean, there's definitely juvenile diabetes cases out there.
Juvenile type 2 diabetes.
Juvenile type 2. Yeah.
Typically,
Type
when you
1
think
is,
of
yeah.
juvenile diabetes, you think of type 1 where your pancreas stops working and you don't make insulin, which is literally the opposite problem of type 2 where you are hyperinsulinemic. Your body cannot make enough insulin to deal with all the energy. So
Yeah. Yeah. I want to bring this in. Like, what are some takeaways here, Corey, for the listener here? Maybe they have kids of their own and they're
mhm.
like, well, maybe what are some advice that you have as parents? Like, you don't want your kids being wired for this sugar habit. I'll be honest, like we have some work to do. It's been a problem for us.
Mhm.
I think it's just there's some things out of my control. I like to be in control, especially with kids at home. But it's just it's around, and you're gonna have to deal with. I think some of it. It's just more this case. It is damage control. Like I can't go to school as much as I would like to and be like, hey, stop giving my kids Oreos, stop giving them animal crackers, aka cookies. Like it's
Sugary
another
sugar.
sly marketing move, calling them animal crackers.
Well, they're cute, Brian. I'm stealing a comedian's joke, but it makes the thing is Mitch Hedberg. Animal crackers made me think all animals tasted the same.
That's good.
Yeah, so you
Uh,
can't control what you're getting at
yeah,
school, the
yeah,
cookies,
I
the
can't
animal
control that stuff.
crackers.
But like, what can we control?
Hmm.
Like, what are some tips you have, Corey? Like, because maybe these people listening, uh, they have kids of their own, they have
Grandkids. Oh,
grandkids, etc.
grandkids, you're gonna hate us. Sorry, I'm just kidding. You'll be great, grandparents. So, okay, first thing.
If you're listening to this and thinking, this is exactly what I need, but I'll deal with it at my next doctor's appointment, I want to lovingly call out something important. Waiting 6 months for someone to glance at your labs isn't a plan, it's a gamble. Your blood sugar doesn't pause until your next visit, your habits don't magically change on their own, and you don't need another rushed conversation where you walk out with more questions than answers. If you want clarity, real personal clarity on what's driving your numbers and how to turn them around, grab a blood sugar clarity call with us. It's free, it's personalized, and it gives you a plan you can act on right away, long before your next appointment rolls around. Just head to the show notes and tap the link to book your call. Don't wait for someone else to set the pace for your health. Take the next step while you've got the momentum.
I know I've spent the last 5 minutes spittling into a microphone about the absurdity of our poor health and the things you need to do, like preconception. My God, Corey. Um, so what I'm going to say is going to make you sound like a huge hypocrite, but don't put a lot of energy into it. So don't walk around the house saying, sugar's bad. Ah, you're eating too much added fat. Oh my God. We don't need to give our kids an eating complex. So here's some practical tips. Model good behavior. If you're listening to this and you have blood sugar problems, be the change. Don't talk about the change. Parenting is the do as I say, not as I do. I got news for you. You're going to do what the kids are going to do what the parents do. So you better fix your own freaking habits. Fix your own house, okay? Lead by example. Because if you are trying to tell your children to eat, quote, healthy, but you're pounding chips between every meal, they're going to see that. So if anything, sneak it. Okay, I'm just kidding.
We're
Or
gonna
not.
hear it.
They're gonna hear it. They're gonna hear the crunch. I heard that sun chip bag from a mile away. Literally, I could hear a sun chip bag from a mile away. So, step one, don't put energy into it. Step two, model the correct behavior. Step three, and this is gonna tickle Brian's little coach heart, is fill up our plates, our fridges, our pantries with nutrient dense foods. The same stuff we talk about every episode. Protein centric, high fibrous vegetable, fruit foods. Okay. If you're eating more of those foods, we're going to have less room for the other crap that will get into their diet and cause acute issues with health and chronic issues with cravings. Okay. Have grace with yourself. So, Brian, you hate giving up control, but we've had a rash of birthday parties and holiday parties. They're going to get junk food. It's going to happen. How we did it in our house, we were very systematic. And I might have talked about this on a previous episode, but before one, we didn't even give our kids fruit. We did not want them fiending for sweet. Now, fruit is not the reason that we have type 2 diabetes, but it's about the wiring that we cared about because we saw too many kids that even given fruit at a young age for their first foods, if you have a choice between delicious, juicy blueberries and spinach, they ain't gonna eat the spinach. All right. And I don't want to get in a mode where we have to make everything sweet. And this is what I'm talking about, where we have to you get to the point where you're putting ketchup on everything. That's anyway. So from 1 to 2, they got fruit. At age 2, they get to have 85% dark chocolate. Age 3, we loosen the reins a bit. And when there's like a homemade treat around, we let them have it. Um, and if they're at school, we don't make a big fuss about it. And really, it has set them up really well. And we talk about it. We say we give ourselves the strong foods first. So if they're going to school or a birthday party, you give them a strong breakfast. You give them a strong lunch if they're going to a birthday party. And then when they go to the birthday party, whatever, man, they're gonna eat crap. They're gonna feel like crap. They're gonna behave terribly. But it's also part of life. Like food's part of celebrations in life. So I mean, that's the big thing. And then if make their lunches, make their snacks. Be a little bit of a pain in the butt to the schools if there's an option to bring your own snack, then send them with their own snack. But when it's Santa cookies and milk day, great, go have an Oreo with Santa. You're eating a bunch of chemical crap. No one, short of choking on an Oreo, no one acutely died from eating an Oreo unless you have some weird hydrogenated oil allergy. Okay. And this goes back to not putting a ton of energy into it. Um, but
Boy,
yeah, keep
thank
your
you.
own house
I
in
needed
order.
this. I
Yeah,
need.
and cook your food and get your kids involved with cooking food at home. My kids are weirdo. My 7-year-old can read a nutrition label. There's many grown-ups that have trouble reading a nutrition label. And in fairness, maybe we've given them we're trying not to give a huge complex to them, but they can count the number of grams of sugar in a food. And they know that if they eat a lot of sugar, it's not good for their health. But we also let them know that, hey, sometimes it's good. It's yummy, right? We don't eat it all the time. Great. Like we're recording on a Friday. Friday night's pizza night. Oh my gosh, clutch your pearls, listeners. My kids get pizza. Great. It's a fun tradition, but it's not, to quote the commercials that we were watching during cartoons, it's not pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. We're not putting pizza at the bagel so we can eat pizza anytime. We shouldn't eat pizza every time, all the time. We're not meant to have dessert all the time. The issue isn't the occasional dessert or birthday party. The problem is we're putting the birthday party at every meal. Cap'n Crunch. No one needs that much sugar for breakfast unless you're crashing again, unless you are dying. No one needs that. You can get energy from other sources. Fat is energy. If we can run on fat and sugar and glucose, that's great. So I think the issue is at a young age, we're priming our kids to crave the foods that are ultra processed, sweet, and will harm their health long term. And yes, we are making picky eaters. Kids menus used to not exist. It was used to just be smaller portions of grown-up food. But we've given them their own section in the store because companies realize parents will pay for that. And then if we get them hooked on it, they'll only eat this crap. And it's a lifetime battle. And we see it in our patients and clients. They just fiend for sweet. They fiend for the whatever that thing is. So was that helpful at all,
That was
Brian?
helpful. That
You
was helpful.
feel
I needed to hear that too. Just the lack of, don't put too much energy into it.
yeah.
Don't, for me, it's like, don't give too much energy to it either. Don't, like,
Mhm.
they'll come home, they'll start like, oh, I had Oreos today, or like they're trying to get a reaction on me. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So you had this.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah. So I have to do my best to be neutral in these situations, not give a whole lot of reaction like I used to. Like I know they're trying to get like see my response.
Mhm.
I mean, the other thing is, I had a really good dad moment yesterday when we were eating dinner somewhere, and then my oldest was like, he's like, oh yeah, well I'm full. He's like, but I'm not too full for dessert because that doesn't fill you up anyway, right, Dad? I was like, you're right, that doesn't fill you up. It just makes you, maybe if anything, makes you a little hungrier. So there's
Mhm.
always room for dessert unless you're like me again and you just couldn't even
You
eat
overrated
pie.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
folks. Go back to our Thanksgiving episode. I cannot believe you couldn't have room for. Anyway, so also, I guess here's another tip: give yourself grace, like Brian was alluding to. It's really hard to be a parent. It's really hard to be a grown up. It's really hard to be a kid. And we live in we are doing this podcast because our environment sets us up to be unhealthy. And you're listening because you're like, darn it, I've had enough. I'm rebelling against this garbage food system. And we're here for you. And one of the things I would tell my patients every time is I'd explain the addictive nature of food, the sinister way it's marketed to us, and they just sort of like nod their head and like felt very validated and heard like, oh my gosh, yeah, like we're primed to be unhealthy. and then we're primed to have that be normal. So give yourself some grace. It's like if you were born to someone who had gestational diabetes because they had terrible advice, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility now. Can you change your family legacy? That's
Mhm.
the challenge. I don't know. Do you want to? We're here for you. We're here every week to give you advice. And if you're listening to this and you have questions, let us know. Heck, we'll put together a food snack guide, a kid food guide to help you get suggestions. You want it? You send us an email, you send us a note on Instagram. We'll put it out there. We want it. We are here to serve. And nothing makes me sadder when I see a young child that is clearly metabolically unwell. I'm not talking phenotype. We're not making fun of obese kids. I was a fat kid. I got made fun of. It sucks. Um, it's not because it's not the kid's fault, and oftentimes it's not the parents' fault. They're doing the best they can. So, what can we do to stem the tide? And just as a quick note, if you do live in Tucson, I will be giving a talk on helping raising kids who thrive, giving kids the brains and bodies they deserve on February 28th, 2026. So, a quick plug if you're local and you want to see the face of this podcast, I'll be giving a talk. I'll get more details out. If you want more details, send us a note. We don't have the registration up yet. So that was a quick plug, Brian. We didn't talk about that plug.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
it's, I don't know how many local listeners we have here in Tucson or the greater Cincinnati area, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get this talk. And when you suggested this topic, I said, hey, I got some fresh data that I've been working through. So
It's meant to be, man. Well, I
yeah.
think that's it. I think the offer stands for reviews. So this, if listening to this was like, yeah, these, this is it right here, then please leave a review, share with a friend,
Mhm.
share with a family member, somebody you know that could use this episode.
Yeah, I actually was talking to one of our listeners, and they were just they've been taking some of our advice, and their sugars are dramatically better. And they said, "Hey, I got a lot of family with issues like this. I'm sending this podcast to all of them," and that is warms our hearts because
Yeah,
we do this because we want to put pardon sorry pharmacists we want to put ourselves out of jobs. If everyone was healthy and thriving, the world would be a happier, healthier place, and we would be thrilled to learn how to be like electricians or something.
yeah,
So that's where we're at. So leave a review. If it's a 1 star and you hate us, just get yourself some protein bars, man. Like protein bars or resistance bands. That's what you get for a review, a rating and review. So, and if you leave it, just send a screenshot of it to us. We'll
yep,
put you in the contest. So
yep,
I know we sent out some resistance bands already, right? Yeah.
yep.
All right. Right on.
All right,
Cool.
see it. All right, see you guys.
If this episode gave you clarity or hope, share it with one friend who's been stuck in the diabetes trap. That's how this mission grows. One person, one family, one story at a time. And if you haven't yet, leaving a quick review helps more people find the show and realize they're not stuck with meds forever. It takes less than a minute and it means the world to us. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being part of this movement toward freedom. Thanks for listening to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap. The ideas discussed here are for general informational purposes only and do not constitute medical or nutritional advice. We are pharmacists, but we're not your personal healthcare providers. Always consult your own physician or qualified clinician before changing medications, exercise routines, or nutrition plans. Results vary, and what works for one person may not work for another.